Welcome to Hard to Kill 2021. Now, I know there's going to be some people that's going to be really happy and some people that's going to be pissed as hell at the ending of this review. So, I'm going to do my best to go through all this as quickly as possible so we can focus on the ending of the show because I got a lot to talk about. And it's got to be stated that this was a good show. It was a long, very good show. But I know a lot of people are not going to be happy with the ending, and I'll explain why I believe it was a good thing. The kickoff show, I saw a little bit of it. I caught the ending of Brian Myers versus Josh Alexander. Really wasn't that much. But it was good to see that they, as I was told by one of my subscribers, D'Lo Brown and the Matt Striker, I said myself, in how to make Impact Wrestling better in 2021, I did mention that Matt Striker should replace Josh Matthews or Madison Rayne, and he has, along with D'Lo Brown. This is a breath of fresh air, guys. If you did like Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne, more power to you. But there was a lot of problems with both of them. They didn't acknowledge each other, and a lot of people were very frustrated with dealing with him. And that's Josh. They just didn't like Josh Matthews that much. But now you have D'Lo Brown, a guy who worked with Farouk, a guy who did sound very enthusiastic along with Matt Striker. It was good. But I got to ask you one question. Did you notice that Matt Striker's voice was like this? And how you doing? And how's this? I don't know what's going on with his voice. Maybe he lost his voice a little bit. But his voice sounded off. But that's just me, guys. Tell me below. And it was Brian Myers who won. But I don't know what Brian Myers is going to gain from it. Either Josh Alexander, either. But let's go on. We got old school match between Jake, Rhino, Tommy, and now VBD. Violence by Design. I think I'm going to call them VBD. I now named them and I botched the words. Alright. Violence by Design is a good name. Works fine for me. And this wasn't a bad match. It was a good opening match. Now, I know not everyone is fond of six-man tags. And know me, I'm not totally fond of six-man tags. I'm not. But it was good for what it was and it had a story behind it. Diener is still acting the way he is. And people really hate that Cody Diener, who's now Diener, is controlled by Eric Young. But I will say this. I believe I have him in my face if I got a shot that I think I got. If I don't, well, I don't have the shot. But look at Joe Dorling. The guy is a beast. He's a monster of a guy. He destroyed Rhino. He just wiped his ass out. In the end, Violence by Design wins, which I don't have a problem with. They should win because they're a new faction that need to get off the ground. They needed it. Impact has needed a really serious type of faction. They've needed one for quite a while. And OVE was the only thing they had that was an equivalent. But OVE is no longer in existence, so they needed a faction that you can really think could be really dangerous, and now you got one. I'm cool with it. Now, we had, the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. And I will get to the mixed tag in a minute, where it came to Rosemary and Steve, but I want to add some stuff into it. But the Knockouts Tag Championship Finals. I knew who was going to win from the very beginning when they announced this, guys. Was this a good match? Actually was good. Because when you see Tasha Steelz, I'm not a big Tasha Steelz fan, but I know she has good ability in the ring, and she did a very good job. You guys know how I feel about Kiera Hogan, the luscious girl on fire. You could marry that lady. You would be, if a guy, I'm saying this right now, whoever she was with or is with is stupid enough to leave that, if she doesn't cheat on him, is the most stupidest jackass that exists, because that is something you should not let go of. That woman is gorgeous. And I had a feeling from the very beginning when they talked about the Knockouts tag titles, these two were going to get it because of the way they were having their attitude, the way they were being pushed, the way they were being featured. I knew next to Havea and Havoc that those two were going to be at the end. And I was right. Now here's the thing though, let's put this in perspective. Seeing that Havoc had to sell a lot for two smaller women was a bit cringy. I'm not going to lie about it. When it comes to Havea, it was a lot more easier to deal with. It was. Havea looked easier to deal with when it came to Tasha as well as the Kiera Hogan. It looked more believable. When it came to Havoc, it was more difficult. Yes, they did tag teaming and they beat on her a lot. That really did help a lot. But there were points when she was by herself with only one of them and they really was stretching it a bit because I couldn't 100% believe that. Look, I'm not against either one of them. I'm not. And seeing that Havoc had to sell a good amount to either one of them, a little much. They should have done more tag team on Havoc than they should have. They should have done a lot more. In the end, Tasha and Kiera win, and I wasn't surprised. I knew they were going to win. I had this feeling they were going to win even before the match happened. But what I didn't expect was the Gail Kim or Madison Rayne to come out. And I did notice that Matt Striker tried to put over a little bit of Madison Rayne. I'm surprised he didn't do Gail Kim as well. But he did talk about Madison Rayne because she was doing commentary. Now she's not doing it anymore. I don't know if actually Madison Rayne has now gone into retirement permanently, because now she's not doing it. Maybe she's going to be active in the ring again, or maybe she has actually retired like I've heard some people say she is. Either way, it is a good thing they did mention her. She did come to the ring. She gave them both hugs, and along with Gail Kim, they handed the new Knockouts Tag Championships. Now, here's the thing. It is good to see this. It is good to see them do something good. One, they brought back a tag title in a sense that could actually mean something compared to the way they're doing it in WWE. Let's be honest. AEW has a women's title, but it really doesn't feel like much. Hell, the NWA title with Serena Deeps, and now we're married, that woman. That means more than the AEW women's title right now. And now Impact has something that WWE is never going to have. A real, legitimate tag titles that you feel is real. But here's the thing. You got only a certain amount of women on that roster. You must give them competition to make them feel important. Because you'll end up like AEW with the women's title, or worse, WWE's women's title. Tag titles. I'm hoping beyond stink that they bring in more women, even if they're one-offs. They continually bring in more women from the independents to let these women wrestle against. Hell, you may not like it. Throw them on AEW as well. Why not? Put the Impact Knockouts champions on AEW Dark periodically to let them wrestle other women and then show it on Impact Wrestling like they used to. Remember, Impact used to go to other promotions and they showed these things. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let it happen. It's free, but it's good to see. They need to do it. Now, let's get to the mixed tag at the opening of the show. Now, admittedly, I had a problem trying to get a stream. It was difficult getting a stream, so I missed a couple of minutes of it. But I did see Caleb with a K and the Tennille Dashwood, the foodie, the sexy foodie, versus Decay. Yes, they started stating Decay again, which I have no problem with. It was a good match for what it was. A lot of tag team matches in this show, but this was a good match for what it was. It was to reestablish a Rosemary and Crazy Steve as Decay. That's the way it is. In the end, DK won. They did not win. They did not lose, and they used to miss both Rosemary and Steve used to miss, which is a lovely thing. Now, here's the thing that I think should happen. They need one more person. One more. One more person should join them. And I know many people will say it's Madman Fulton, but no. I've said it already to one of my subscribers. They would rather see, some people I'm sure would rather see Madman Fulton go work with Decay, have another big man. No. You have now a big man in a Joe Dorling who is now with Violence by Design. You do not need another big man in another faction. It's not good to have too many factions like that. But now let's go to Ace Austin. He's pissed. He has the Super X Cup. He wanted to join in the X Division title match. And he is pissed. He calls out Scott. Scott says, look, I came out there, I handed you that title. You should be happy. I shook your hand. But since you got such an attitude right now, you are dressed, you know what? You got to prove that you can earn another title shot. Because your chance is done. But I have something for you. I have someone for you who's always ready. And it is this man. Matt Cardona. Okay. I didn't see this coming. Matt Cardona, the Long Island IC himself, shows up on Impact Wrestling. That actually is a bit of an interesting and not a very huge deal, but it is a deal. Another member of the possible member of AEW. I don't remember if he's actually a part of AEW. I don't know if he is. But if he is, another member of AEW appears on Impact Wrestling. That shows a good thing. Now, was the match good? It was okay for what it was. It wasn't meant to do anything. And seeing that Madman Fulton basically ended that, flat out stopped it by DQing it, leads you into a Madman Fulton possible Matt Cardona feud or match. Because if Matt is not with AEW, if he's a free agent and he decides to go into Impact Wrestling, which actually would be a wiser thing for him. Because let's be honest, Matt Cardona on AEW is going to get lost in the shuffle. There's too many people there. When he was there, he was about being Cody's best friend. Here, he can actually get something done for himself. Yes, he could try and go after the X Division. Yes, he can go after the world title. In fact, I think he should go after the world title in time. And this is where they really need a mid-card title. They need one badly. But if he is going to work with Impact from now on, or if this is a one-off, it was good to see him. I am still hoping he is going to sign with Impact because they need another guy that isn't like someone you recognize. And yes, I know several of my subscribers are going to say, oh, you're talking about getting another WWE guy. What is your problem, my friend? And I'm not bashing you. I'm not chomping down your throat, or anyone for that matter. This is a wrestler who has never had a fair shake from WWE. Not because he doesn't have ability. The guy got over on his own in 2013 and 14 by doing shit on the internet. And instead of them capitalizing on him, they basically buried his ass with John Cena. You tell me I'm wrong, because that did happen. He was in a wheelchair at one point and got thrown off of a stage due to the fact of John Cena. This is not about if he was a WWE guy. Let that go. It's over. The WWE is trash right now. Don't worry about where he came from. Worry about what he can give to the company. Because I said this before and I'll say it again to anyone. You think Impact is doing great. Yes, they have international strength. They got nothing in America. And they're stationed in America. You want them to be thought about in America, don't you? If you don't care about them being in America, why are they based in America? Think about it. They work out of America. They're seen mostly in America. They originally originated in America. If they stay in Canada, they're a Canadian company that once in a while does something in America. But they want to be something in America. The U.S. They need more. Bring in people that can bring in star power. Now, I'm not saying he can't. But I'm not saying he can't either. It counts on how they book him. Now, the Raju, the Chris Bay, the Manic match for the X Division Championship. A three-way dance. This was a very good match. Seeing that Raju finally ripped off the mask of Manic was good. And then you see in my face, I believe I got that shot of Manic's face painted. It's obvious it's TJP. And the way that Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown was doing it, it wasn't a bad thing they did, but it was at least enjoyable. And almost forgot, there's something I forgot to mention. This time around with this pay-per-view, hearing fans, I'm not sure if there was anybody in the arena. I don't think there was. This was just canned pops or canned heat. If it was actual fans, finally we get to see them. Not see them, but hear them. If it was actual people, they just could not be in the arena itself. Maybe they put in speakers and let them start yelling, screaming, and cheering in an undisclosed location. If it was canned pops and heat, it is a step up from what they had, but still it's not good enough. For me personally, it felt like what the WWE did months ago. Yes, at least it is something better than having just silence. But it's still, they need fans. Or at least they need wrestlers. Manic won. But here's the thing. When I spoke about the mix tag and about Decay winning and they need one more person, I believe it should be Manic. Manic should join Decay. I'm saying it right now. Manic should join Decay. If you want to make this really interesting, have Suicide also join Decay. Have the craziest people join Decay to make them into an unusual faction. 3 incredibly weird people. 3 well-known people. 3 high flyers. The one who is now the X Division champion. I would rather see just Manic there, but if you got to throw in, well, Suicide as well, it would make some sense. Now, the best match of the night for me, on a technical standpoint, not a what can really help Impact standpoint, is Taya Valkyrie versus, I got to tell you this. Deonna Purrazzo is a damn good wrestler. But then when you look at Taya Valkyrie, she's a damn good all-around wrestler that knows how to work a match, that knows how to, think of it as the psychology of a match, to make you care about that match. Deonna is a great technical wrestler, but she doesn't have a huge amount of character yet. She's good in her character, and she's good when it comes to making things interesting, but I think she needs a little more work. You look at Taya Valkyrie, she has the total package. And it's not because I love her and I want to marry her and have, I don't want kids. I just want her and to marry her. But still, this was the best technical story that we had of Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. Seeing that many holes being put onto a Taya Valkyrie, that basically Susan was ejected, Kimberly was ejected, Decay was ejected, did help it a lot. It needed to have no outside interference. It was straight up wrestling, and it really helped the match. And I can tell you this. When it came to the end, I really did feel that Deonna was not going to job here. I really felt that she was going to stay champion. And I was right. She stayed champion. But here's the thing. You don't have that many women that are working for Impact Wrestling. You got Rosemary, Taya Valkyrie, Su Yung, who is now Susan. Of course, you can easily mention Kimberly. You can easily mention the Hood Rats. You can easily mention Nevaeh as well as the Jessica Havoc. But that's not enough women. You're not going to have enough women for the tag title as well as the main title. I'm hoping to bring in more women that are independent to do something more. There's just me, you guys tell me below. AC Romero, I gotta mention it because it has to be mentioned. AC Romero is still trying to find a way to get Larry D out of jail. He went into the Knockouts locker room. He found some type of cologne, confronted a Johnny Bravo, who I really was hoping that the story between Rosemary and Johnny Bravo is done. It looks like it is because they're not really interacting. But now, AC said it was in someone's bag. Johnny wants to know who, and you don't know who it is because they won't mention it. My guess is they'll mention it this Tuesday on Impact. I'm not going to tell you who it is because I do believe I know who it is, but I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to say who it is. I just hope it's going to be done and finished. I don't want the Who Shot Bravo saga to continue. Just bring back Larry D and move on. That's what I want. We got the best cinematic in history. Look, I felt that The Undertaker and AJ Styles, their cinematic was good. But I knew there was problems with it. There were problems. The other cinematics that, like Bray Wyatt with Braun Strowman, that one sucked. The John Cena one with Bray Wyatt, that sucked. I didn't like it either. But this cinematic, Paige versus Paige, Karate Man versus Ethan, was the most B-movie cinematic I have seen in years. You can see them in my face. One of them is about to get kicked in the face. I don't remember which one. This was awesome. I had a feeling that Ethan was going to make this work. And not only did he make it work, it was so much fun to watch. This is what an old B-movie was like. If you don't know what a B-movie is, it's not the top of the line movies. It is a movie that normally sucks. But sometimes the suckiness is so bad, it turns good. And the effects were shit. The animations were shit. Seeing the Scorpion flying kick to Ethan Page, by an Ethan Page, was stupid. But it was so awesomely stupid. It went from bad, here's bad, here's good, bad. And getting the heart ripped. I don't have the shot of him with his heart gone. Unfortunately, I missed that shot. I got the heart being ripped out. And it's in his hands. And he's holding it. And that's Karate Man. And now he heads to his temple with it. And I didn't get the shot of Ethan without a heart. But that was an epic ending. I don't know about anybody else. I'm sure there's some people that said this was the most shittiest thing they've ever seen. WWE does it 10 times better. ECW will be doing it 10 times better. AEW will be doing it 10 times better. Of course. But this was never meant to be serious. Unlike WWE. This wasn't meant to be serious. It was meant to be fun. Look. When it came to EC3 with Moose and putting over Moose, that was serious. That really had resonance. To see that, control your calm down. To control your narrative, you had to destroy someone that you knew. And someone was willing to sacrifice himself for you in an EC3. In this situation, you see an Ethan Page pleading for his life by Karate Man when he basically finally ripped out his heart and took it away and left the carcass behind. That was awesome. Now, the barbed wire match. I know there's going to be a lot of people that say this was too much. And understand this. The last match they had, I didn't believe that it was over. When it came to Eddie and Sammy, I said that myself. They needed a stipulation to end this. I even said that myself. And we got a stipulation here, Hard to Kill, barbed wire massacre match. I think it was massacre? Yeah. A barbed wire massacre match. This was one of the better matches I've seen in years. Really. It reminds me of, guess what? OVE versus LAX years ago. It was that brutal. And it felt that good. They're my face. You see the barbed wire being put onto Sammy's head. And that was in the really beginnings of the entire match. Seeing how the psychology was done. Seeing how Sammy tried to plan out everything and to really make Eddie so pissed off he doesn't keep his mind straight and he just charges. Hell, there's one point where Sammy's outside with a barbed wire plank and Eddie decides to do a flying suicide dive, and I believe I got that shot. It's in my face. If I don't, I'm sorry. He basically misses him and crashes into it, and then Sammy proceeds to give him a bang bang and jumps onto his back and messes him up. This was a damn good, brutal match for barbed wire. In the end, Eddie won. But this is the question which I do hope is answered. Is it finally over? Both these guys need to separate and do something with themselves. I need to see Eddie in the main title scene. I need to see Sammy maybe go after the X Division. Hell, have Sammy go after Moose and get the TNA title. Or Eddie for that matter. Yes, I know that's a dead title and nobody wants to see it, but at least they'll be going after something that will give them purpose. I do not want to see them floating again, because that's the reason why they did this. They came this far because Eddie was doing nothing. Sammy was doing nothing. And they had no choice but to give them back their old feud again because there was nothing else to do. This is just me, you guys, down below. Finally, the match we're waiting for. Good Brothers and Kenny versus Swan, Moose, and Sabin. Now, unfortunately, you got Shelley unable to compete. I think maybe he might have gotten sick or he got hurt. It's probably one or the other. They didn't really mention which one it was. They did show scenes in the opening kickoff that Rich was told by Scott that it was going to be Moose replacing him. They did show Moose talking to Sabin as well as Rich saying, look, I am going to show you that I know we're going to have our moment. But when that ring of that bell happens, I will be there for you. I am a professional. I am Mr. Impact. And he proved it. This match shined for two people. Moose and Rich. Moose looked like a freaking beast. He looked better than Joe Dorling. How he worked that match. And I'm not taking anything away from Joe Dorling, but Moose looked great. Then you finally had Kenny facing a Rich Swann, which those two have chemistry. I can tell that if they are allowed to go, they will go. In the end, as I said to you guys for weeks now, and I know many people are saying, well, Rich has to win. Impact has to win. No. This has got to set up for a future match between Kenny and Rich Swann. Kenny pins Rich. That's done. And I know a lot of people are not going to be happy about this. I am sure 100% right now, there are people that are pissed beyond stink that Kenny Omega pinned Rich Swann in a Impact pay-per-view, and he's an AEW guy. And I remember a couple of my subscribers, at least one of them or two of them, say that Impact is getting hosed here. That AEW is not sponsoring them, is not doing anything with them. Look, let's put this in perspective, okay? You got two companies. One that has not had a good track record in an Impact Wrestling in America. No matter if they moved to Canada or they stayed in America, this company has been trying to reclaim its position once it left Spike. It has not been able to do it. It may have a very strong international fan base, but in America, it's nothing. Many reviewers don't even care about thinking about Impact, and they think they're still a joke. They have needed something to help them. They have needed a shot in the arm, and AEW is the key. AEW is still very young, and they need an established type of promotion to help them. And right now, Impact is it. They both need each other. Right now, this is what I'm hoping. After this match is over, I hope it's not a one-off. That now, this Wednesday, you see Rich Swan show up on AEW and try to kick the ass of Kenny Omega. And you see that maybe a Moose goes over there. And you see a Sabin go over there. And they attack the Good Brothers. Because Shelley can't compete right now. Moose and Sabin can work together. You could have basically Rick Swan show his dominance on AEW. And then eventually, when they have their pay-per-view, and I believe the first one of this year will be All In, you will have Rich Swan versus Kenny Omega. They need to happen. A champion from AEW versus the champion of Impact Wrestling. I want to see them for the title of Impact Wrestling. But if it can't, at least it will be on a AEW championship pay-per-view where people who would not normally see Impact will see it. And if anyone says this is stupid, Impact is getting hosed here. No. Whether Rich wins or loses, which he should lose, it's going to help Impact in the long run, because now Impact is not just being seen on Access TV. It's being seen on Access TV, Impact Plus, and will be seen on TNT television. 3 different platforms. 3 different places you can see this, and they need to do it. Was the show good? Damn good. I did enjoy the barbed wire match. The exhibition was good. Deonna Purrazzo as well as Taya Valkyrie was the best technical match for me personally. And the ending of this match, when it came to the Good Brothers and Kenny versus Moose, Sabin, as well as Rich, ended the right way. Rich had to lose to set up something ahead. A future match. I don't know if that's going to be the title. It's going to be something. But this is just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.